What's up, guys? So I'm going to show you two movements that help with anterior pelvic tilt, tight hip flexors, lengthen and weaken glutes. So if you have a duck body like this, a big primary cause of that is a weakened TVA. So if you haven't seen my TVA video yet, check this out right here. And if you have seen it, then you already know that you got to be strengthening your TVA, your transverse abdominis muscles, before you start treating the symptoms that a weakened TVA causes, which is anterior pelvic tilt and tightened hip flexors. So treating the symptoms obviously by itself alone is pretty much useless and can actually backfire. But if you're strengthening the TVA, which is the root cause of a lot of these issues, and you're also treating the symptoms at the same time, then that's just going to expedite the whole process of correcting your posture and going from walking around looking like a freaking duck to walking around looking like this and having your posture aligned and stacked and proportionate the way it should be. So one of the movements is basically just hip thrusts. Okay, so you can come down here and you're going to lay on the ground like so. And then first you're going to want to activate that TVA by pushing your lower back into the ground, zipping up your core, doing a TVA hold. If it's a little bit difficult for you to do that, just breathe out, draw in a little bit, brace your core, feel it harden, feel your obliques harden, zip up your core, and then start doing and squeeze your glutes when you do this and do the hip thrust. Squeeze your glutes really tight when you do this so you feel it in your glutes. And don't do it to where you're like pointing your belly button like straight up in the air. You wanna be straightened out. And you just do 3 sets of 10. And you should feel that in your glutes because that's what we're targeting with that movement. So when you have bad posture, it can stretch out and pull your glutes in a way that is just not good, and it weakens them over time because they can't function the way they're supposed to. When they're not functioning correctly and they're weakened, then they start transferring their job over to other muscles, which then strains those muscles, and it just becomes a chain reaction that it's bad. It just throws your whole kinetic chain out of whack. So while you're correcting your posture, while you're strengthening your TVA, it's good to do these. And then let's say you want to progress to the next level of these. A lot of people say like, oh, I want to start adding weight. Before you add weight, try doing something that just might be more difficult. Try doing a one-legged hip thrust. So put one leg in the air, brace your core, squeeze your glutes. Try it on the other leg. You're able to do hip thrusts with added weight, yet they can't do a one-legged hip thrust. That's kind of something's off there. So I think it's better to work your way up instead of trying to jump to the more advanced stuff. Try to go through all of it because there's something about just doing calisthenics and doing body weight exercises that strengthens all the correct muscles proportionately in a more functional way. So I highly recommend doing one-legged hip thrusts and progressing to that, and not just skipping past that and going straight to weighted hip thrusts. Because if you do that, then you'll be able to do weighted one-legged hip thrusts, which will be even better, more challenging for your glutes, and you'll get that progressive overload and strengthen your glutes better than ever. And I understand that a lot of you guys are not going to want to show up at the gym, you swipe your card and walk in there and start doing this in front of everybody. I know that a lot of you guys don't want to be doing that, so I'm one of them. So I don't like doing that at the gym, and so I do it at home, and then I go do my regular workout or the rest of my workout at the gym. You know what I'm saying? That's what's cool about this exercise is you can do it at home. Like I practice handstands, and I don't have that down very good yet, and so I practice that at home too. So I'm not like falling and busting my neck in front of everybody at the gym. So this one, you're gonna be stretching your tightened hip flexors in this one. And you got to be careful when you do this because if you do it with the wrong form, it can actually make it worse. So the way you do it right is basically the movement is like this and you stretch. But if you just do the movement and try to do the movement without making sure your posture is correct first, then it's just going to make it worse. So first, what you want to do is, we're struggling with anterior pelvic tilt, right? You want to posterior pelvic tilt. So tilt it in the opposite direction, not like crazy, like exaggerated, but just like squeeze your glutes and bring it in and do a TVA hold. So breathe breathe out to help you get into position. To do TVA hold, you don't really need to breathe out, but it helps if you're still in the beginning stages of doing that. So TVA hold, zip up your core, squeeze your glutes, posture, slight posterior pelvic tilt, and then while you're holding the contraction, then you get into position, 90-degree angle, and then you go forward. And then you should feel the stretch on your hamstring. And then do that for 10 seconds, a 10-second hold, 3 sets, each side. Same with the hip thrust. I forgot. I usually do 10 sets of 3 sets of 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then usually the way I do it is I do the hip thrust, I do 1 set of that, then I jump. Instead of doing all 3 sets in a row, it could get kind of boring, like honestly. So I try to mix it up. So I do 1 set, and then I jump to 1 set of the stretching right here, and then I go back to the hip thrust, do my 2nd set of that, and then for the next movement, instead of doing another set of the same kind of stretch, I do a different kind of stretch just to mix it up a little bit, but it stretches the same hamstrings. And I'll show you that movement now. I don't actually do 3 sets of that second movement. I'll just do 1 or 2, and then the other 2 sets I'll do this instead. So basically, I put your knee right here, and for this, remember, it's the same thing. Squeeze your glutes, posterior pelvic tilt, and zip up your core. And I get like this, and then do the stretch, count to 10. And now, when you get really good, you'll be able to lean back a lot farther than I am now. Some of you guys are just starting this, you can't even do this. It's gonna hurt like hell. So you might want to start like lower right here, and then your second time doing it, you should be able to go up a significant amount more than your first time. Your first time doing it, it's probably gonna be like, oh my gosh, I can't freaking do it. Don't worry, don't give up, just do it, be careful, don't hurt yourself. And then the next day, try it again. If you can't even do full 10 seconds, just do it the best you can. Even if it's sloppy, ugly, doesn't matter. And then I promise, try to do it the next day, and then you'll be able to do a full set, full 10 seconds. You'll be like, oh my gosh, wow, I progressed a lot in just one day. So don't worry, you gotta be really bad at everything you want to get good at. You just gotta be bad at it at first. You gotta look stupid. You gotta have bad form. You gotta go through that. You know, sometimes having bad form is how you learn to have good form. All right, and then you do that, and then I go back and I do my hip thrusts, and then I do my hip thrusts, my last set, and then I do another set of that, and then that's it. That's for those 2 movements right there. You guys are already strengthening your TVA and you're watching this video and you're like, great, now I have to add more to this routine. It's already lengthy as it is. Don't worry about it. Like these 2 movements, you don't have to do them like every single day. Just do them here and there. Do 1 movement here, another movement there. Maybe shorten your TVA routine a little bit to squeeze these in on a certain day. It doesn't have to be like perfect. You know, your body, it doesn't matter if you're doing a certain number of reps or a certain number of sets. If you're just consistent at doing a little bit of all the stuff every single day, I promise you guys will see progress. Don't worry about having this really rigid routine that you got to do every single day, because the important part of this whole thing is sustainability. It's consistency. And for it to be consistent, it's got to be sustainable, right? And so just do at least a little bit every day of this in conjunction with your regular workout. And if you're not doing regular workouts, like if you don't lift weights or run, like you guys got to do that stuff too. You guys got to do strength training, even if it's really light, because it's good for you. Because the lifestyles that we live nowadays, it's too sedentary. We have cars, we don't walk enough, and it's just we sit down too much, and it messes up our posture, it messes up our health. You know, you go outside barefoot, dude, grounding, like that's how our bodies have electromagnetic, like that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But you guys, we're designed to live a certain way. God designed us to live a certain way. Eat whole foods, be connected to the earth, and be active. We're designed to move. That's why we get sick, we get injured, when we're not moving enough. We're supposed to move, we're supposed to work, we're supposed to eat whole foods. We're not supposed to eat processed crap. We're not supposed to be sitting down all the time. But anyways, didn't mean to go on a whole rant there, but just be healthy, guys. Like, think about how people lived thousands of years ago before we had all this technology. Try to find a way to mimic that kind of lifestyle, whether it's on a treadmill or whatever. Just try to be more active. All these things here and there, like, you got to change your whole lifestyle if you really want your posture to get better, your quality of life to get better. Release endorphins in your brain too. It's going to give you dopamine. You're just going to have a better quality of life, a better perspective. You're going to feel better. It's worth it, guys. It's like the opposite of a bag of Doritos. You eat a bag of Doritos, you'll feel better instantly. You're like, I love the Doritos. And by the time you finish the bag, you're like, oh, I feel kind of crappy. I have some brain fog. You know, working out, it's kind of the opposite. It's like, wow, this sucks, and I'm deliberately choosing to do this thing that sucks right now. And it starts feeling better after. You start reaping the benefits later. And that's how basically all good things are in life. They suck now, then they get better later. If you want to correct your duck bod and your anterior pelvic tilt and all that, one thing that really helps is switching up your TVA routine too, because I know it could be kind of boring, kind of hard to do the same TVA exercises all the time, and it's actually better to do different movements that target the same muscle because you're probably hitting tiny little nuanced muscles around the same area in different ways. You're hitting the same muscle in different ways, and it's just good. It's how we're designed to move dynamically, you know? We're not designed to just be like robots doing the same movement all the time. With that being said, here's a little bonus to this video. Here are 2 more TVA workouts that you can try out. And these TVA workouts actually came to me through you guys in the YouTube comments. These ones actually weren't my idea. I was notified of these 2, and one guy, he seemed to not even be sure if it was a thing. But he mentioned it. He was like, hey, what about doing this? Would that work out your TVA? And I tried it. I was like, it does. Holy cow. And I don't know if this is the right angle of the bench. It's kind of, yeah, that should do. So, incline bench, about that angle. It's not like 90 degrees. It's like at a slant. But anyways, the first movement is, it's a dumbbell curl on an incline bench. If you use 2 dumbbells, doesn't target your TVA. You use 1 dumbbell, it targets your TVA. Why? Because try doing a dumbbell curl on the bench, you just start sliding off the bench unless you do what would normally be an automatic reaction to someone that already has a strengthened TVA. But if you have a weakened TVA, then you probably have to deliberately do it, or else you'll just like mess up your spine or fall off the bench. And yeah, you don't want that. And so make sure you first brace your core and activate a TVA hold. Brace, hold it, and then start doing your dumbbell curls. And then you're gonna feel yourself trying to go off the bench, and you're gonna feel your obliques activating. And so just do whatever 10, 15 reps and do them on both sides. And then, so that way you can target your TVA on both sides of your body, obliques on both sides of your body, your core on both sides of your body. And then, yep, this is the first movement. And then, what is the other one? Oh yeah, and the other movement is also with the dumbbell, but you're gonna wanna have heavier weight for this one. So, unfortunately, these dumbbells, they only go up to 52.5 pounds. It's pretty ridiculous, but I mean, it's not bad. So, basically, a one-handed farmer carry. Because you're only having 1 dumbbell, it's gonna pull your body to the side, kind of like a Pallof press. And so, brace your core, and then rock. This is a really bad spot to do this exercise because I don't have a lot of room in this room. I should have filmed this one outside, but you're engaging your TVA and it's doing a lot of the work to keep this weight from sagging down. And so that is another good TVA workout. Now I'm gonna also show you guys a variation of different ways to do the Pallof press, because let's face it, it can be kind of boring doing the Pallof press the same way every time, and this targets different areas of your inner core. So you're gonna want to do these variations whether you're bored or not. And again, this one was pointed out to me in the YouTube comments. Did my research, tested it out, confirmed it's legit. And so again, thank you guys for the feedback. Some of the commenters I get already know a lot about this stuff and are helping me out in this journey as well. All right, so variation of the Pallof press. There's a 10-pound band here. Bring it. First brace your core before you pull it. Brace your core. And then, I know usually it's like this, right? Well, here's a variation. Is going up. Like that. Bring it back to your sternum. Up. Squeeze your glutes. Keep your TVA hold braced. Because it's also your glutes kind of like holding you in place aside from your TVA. And also, try doing holds. So pull it forward, hold 10 seconds. Now bring it back, and you can do the holds up here as well. And don't forget to do both sides. You won't forget to do both sides because you'll clearly feel that it's working out one side more than the other. And so these resistance bands right here, it came in a pack of, I think there's 4 or 5. So it's like 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds. And you could get them on Amazon. I have the link in the description, and there should also be a link in the comments. And it's only 20 bucks that you can get all these bands and then be able to do this workout from home using a tree or anything else that's solid and stable that you could attach it to. And that is it for this video. Thank you guys again for watching. Please leave comments below of what you guys would like to see, of how it's going so far on your journey and correcting your posture and strengthening your TVA and correcting your anterior pelvic tilt. Let me know how it's going, and I'll see you guys in the next video.